Hi guys, and welcome back to Cursed Side. For fuck's sake, I opened this game. I already talked in the first episode about the problems. I was thinking that when I opened the game it would open in the same position, but for some reason it didn't. Because this is a fixed point. It looks fixed, so I now have to move it, man. Like that's about. And I'm just Anyway, let's load back into the game and let's go back into the story. I asked for 3 apples, not 2. Mion shook her head. Is your head empty? Mion usually spoke to me with zero emotion, but tonight she quizzed me with an ounce of anger in her tone. With Sasa in the room, maybe Mion wanted to impress her with the perfect ritual. I balled my hands into fists. If Mion was a boy, I'd have already punched her or him. Or whatever. Sasa darted her eyes between Mion and I, wearing a pained expression like she had just swallowed sour candy. Enough was enough, hit Mion and pressed on. These are sacred foods gifted to the goddesses. My ritual will be ruined if they become angered. I am the one who becomes angered. The words formed off of my gritted teeth. Sasa stroked my back, but I eased her hand away. You think you're so special just because you have some powers. This is why everyone calls you a monster. There we go, good boy. Mion threw one of those sacred apples at my face. Narrowly avoided the fruit which fell against the wall. Mion hurled a banana at me next. This time the fruit smacked me square on my forehead. If I hurt Mion, Locke would have my head. But Marriage had blocked out that I picked up a pear and prepared to show Mion how to really throw something. Jump it at once. Both of you, Sasa said. Mion and I were stiff. Sasa pierced into my heart with a gaze. Put down. I'm doing that voice at the same time, just like, put down that pear. It's easy, but put down that pear. And that menacingly, just like, I don't know. Sasa never had to put on any scary faces. When her smile disappeared, it was frightening enough. Stern tone reminded me she was an adult, while Mion and I were children. Allowed the pairs told. Mion bit her lip and lowered her chin. Sasa's mood shift must have startled her as well. Compared to facing Locke, my fight with Mion should have been a trivial matter. Why Sasa would overreact this way left me baffled. Guy! The single word from Sasa. I turned my back and listened. Mion's a girl, not a monster. A man should handle things more calmly. My only goal in this temple was to impress Sasa, yet now I'd done the exact opposite. Closed my eyes when I wanted to fight back the surging tears. Sasa faced Mion next. You want to be treated nicely. You must be nice to others first. Have you ever bothered you to ascribe a name? Sorry, Sasa, Mion murmured. A shaking voice told me she must be holding back tears as well. Seeing her this way made me forgive all of her crimes. I don't. This was where girls really annoyed me sometimes. Sasa grabbed my wrist and forced me to hold hands with Mion. That marked the first time I ever had physical contact with her. Never noticed before that the hand was almost small enough to fit in my palm. The realization made her seem so much less terrifying. Mion's skin gave off such warmth too. A monster, a tool, a treasure could possibly do the same. These flying thoughts made my ears turn red. Oh, I thought we are... whatever. Sasa held Mion's hand and did the same with me. Three of us now sat with fingers interlocked, forming a triangle around the room. Sasa closed her eyes and began to speak. Time passes faster than you might think, so please cherish every moment spent with one another. Mion and I managed small nods. So pulling us both into her embrace, Sasa's usual smile returned. My shoulders slumped as the tension eased away at last. Turn it back, it's getting quite late, Sasa said, as always I rose to ask her out. This walks we shared might be brief, but looked forward. There's some word missing. I looked forward to them more than any other activity in this temple. Sasa stepped out the door and Mion whispered, Sorry, Sasa. Please come back again, okay? Sasa walked back in to pull Mion's cheek and lift him into a smile. She and Dinah left the room for good. Sasa and I strolled along the courtyard, my brain scrambled for words that would break the silence. Never failed to amaze me. Sasa glanced over his shoulder to give me a wink. You fallen for me? Yes. No. I did, yes, I love you. Wanna marry? I retorted and Sasa burst into laughter. Suddenly gave the truth away. Grown up like Sasa must have already memorized every trick in my children's book. But that became dark really quick. Sasa stopped, chuckling and spoke. Too bad for us both are married with children. She turned her head away from me. A widow, to be exact. Stopped on my tracks as if the air before me had formed in the wall. Sasa spent time with a brat like Mion, then went home and looked after her children all alone. Not that I would ever possess the strength, no matter how old I got. Still, I must have earned enough of Sasa's trust for her to tell me about herself. I resisted the urge to smile over that. Why would you smile over that? What? For a potential romance, it stung that my chances just dropped from 0% to negative 100. You cheeky fucking bastard. You cheeky freaking bastard. Sasa leaped behind me and pushed my back to spur me forward. This is why you and me need bell already. We arrived at the temple entrance, safe not by the bell but rather the gates. Good night, Sasa. The next day I stepped out of the temple for my grocery duties, the one joy I looked forward to every month. Each time I came out, I considered running for good and joining the homeless children stealing on the streets. Doing so, however, would mean no more of Sasa's hugs and face pinches, and, well, okay, I also might miss those 1 in a million cases when Mion did something cute. As I strolled along Melody Way, I noticed the lanterns that lined the streets. Lanterns came in all kinds of colors and patterns. One of them featured a bikini-wearing girl who looked a bit like Sasa. Stared for a little too long and almost crashed into the lamppost. Fuck, okay. That is an oddly specific lantern. We are maybe in the white light district, I would say. Also, why does it sound like I have no voice at all? Some good refreshment helped. Okay, no it didn't. After returning to the temple, I asked the servant what those lanterns were about. Oh, that's a lantern festival. It's on tomorrow night, I think, the servant said. Not that it has anything to do with us. Yeah, he was certainly right about that. Later that day, I visited Mion's room to wash the windows. When I walked in, Mion turned to see who it was, but once our eyes met, she turned her head right back. Neither of us had spoken a word to one another since our fight. Oh wait, Mion never spoke to me unless she needed to tell me off anyway. Call me crazy, but would rather be reprimanded than suffocate in the silence. Despite what Sasa had said, I refused to be the first to speak. It was I who took a banana to the head, so I had no reason to apologize. I began to wipe the windows with a towel. Mion put her hands under the railing and stared at the garden. Probably chances wanted to avoid me, but one other possibility crossed my mind. Could it be that she knew of the Lantern Festival and wanted to go? Forget the festival. For Mion, going outside in a thunderstorm doing a bandit raid would still be a dream come true. Just how long had she been locked inside this temple all her life? On the desk, I then remembered she and I were at war. But I kept complaining about being useless if I did nothing to change the situation. Sasa did say Locke once had a kind heart, so maybe we could try a little something. Oh guy, you little fool. That didn't really happen, that's just imagination. Next morning inside the throne room, I dropped onto my hands and knees before Locke. Please, let me attend the Lantern Festival. I swear to take all responsibility. The moment I said those words, I wish I could jam them all back down my throat like a jar of cookies. Gone. Tell the king it was opposite day. Locke exhaled from behind the curtain. The single sound almost knocked my heart up into my brain, causing more words to come spilling out. Mion seems tired lately since my diffractor rituals, and I figured some time off would do her good. Locke remained silent for a long time, as if left my mind in bed because even I have no idea what I just said. Maybe I should repeat myself, but that might seem insulting to the king. Never should have come here, guy. If she loses a single hair, it's your head, Locke said. Crap, said something about my head. Yeah, they were good one, guy. Goodbye, Kobold. No. Hold on. Did he mean to say that Mion was allowed to go? My heart might burst like a balloon if you kept poking at it like this. Yes, of course. I am grateful for your kindness. I rose and stumbled out, almost tripping over my own feet in the process. As soon as I exited the room, I hid behind the wall and slid down to my backside. Guy. Yes, you. Listen. I would do such a stupid thing again. I had enough sweat on my brows to fill a mark. I ran my shaking hands over my face. I realized I was grinning. Time to see what Sasa and Mion had to say about this. Did this actually happen? Actually, he's like a coward. I don't think he would have dared to try it, but okay. You did what? Sasa clasped her hands around mine, tilted my head so high that I might as well be staring at the roof. As a self-proclaimed servant of the year, I explained how I talked my way into receiving the king's consent. You're a genius, guy. Sasa leaned and kissed me on the forehead. Crap. Was it still sweaty from before? Forgot to give it a faux wipe. Or whatever. Kill me now if you must, folks. I live a good life. Sasa picked up Mion by the armpits and swung around. Did you hear that? You're going to the festival. Mion said nothing, but as Sasa put it down, caught her flashing a smile. It lasted for a moment, and somewhere within it stirred me more than even Sasa's kiss. You're coming too, right, Sasa? Mion asked. Sasa stroked her chin and put on a cheeky smile. Am I going to get in you two's way? Mion, I'll understand if you want to be alone, guy. No? That honesty. Mion tucked Sasa's wrists, making the bells and arms jingle. Come here for Sasa, please. Oh, wait, you spoiled little angel. Sasa pressed her forehead against Mion's. Their eyes were close enough to touch, separated only by Mion's veil. Mion could kill everyone in this temple just by brushing off her head. But Sasa never showed fear for the cursed sight. I wished I could steal some of her strength. She had more than enough for one person anyway. My parents, the two people I trusted most, had not betrayed me. Maybe I could have shown Mion more faith. When she smiled, I wanted to hug her, but most of the time, I dared not poke her with a broom. Sasa put both hands on her hips. Mion, there's something you forgot to say. Mion pouted and let out a whiny noise, but Sasa pouted right back to tell her there was no getting out of this one. Mion lowered her head. In the smallest voice she muttered, You might want to say about wanting to hug Mion sometimes. Really? Just sometimes. Oh. Forgetting those stones go automatically. I don't know why. My head just turned off for a second here. I paced around outside Mion's room, knowing the festival had already begun. Girls always took their sweet time once they locked those doors. At this rate, by the time Sasa and Mion came out, the festival might be over. Considered knocking, but Sasa had told me no boys allowed and winked at Mion and closed the door. Come on, Sasa. Almost lost my head begging the king for this opportunity. I heard Mion's voice from behind the doors. Sasa, if this keeps up, East and West High will be at war. Hear about that tomorrow, Sasa said. Tonight you're going to be a star. At last, Sasa opened the doors with Mion half hiding behind her. Mion's hair glittered under the lantern lights, making me want to run ahead across her pigtail. Cheeks had more blush than usual too. Sasa must have shared some of her beauty secrets behind those doors. The sly grin, Sasa came and slapped me on the shoulder. Did you wear makeup as well, guy? Because your face is so red right now. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. Everything, every single detail. Those words made me blush even more. I turned and started walking to hide my face from them. Come on, we're already late. Sasa followed. She leaned in next to my ear. Please become Mion's knight for the evening. She gave herself the time of her life. Turned around and saw Mion standing still outside her room. Sasa waved at her to follow, but Mion barely shuffled an inch. Is it really okay for me to go outside? I wanted to grab Mion's hand and drag her out, but Sasa beat me to it, making me taste just an ounce of envy. Mion, who usually talked non-stop whenever Sasa was around, kept silent as we strode out of the temple. We walked so slow that I feared it would be sunrise by the time we reached the streets. Once we arrived at Melody Way, however, everything changed. Mion started running around so fast that Sasa almost lost grip of her hand. Mion looked and pointed all over the place. Even the other children on the streets cast their condescending glares. I held back a chuckle, realizing I had no need for concern. Well, maybe I did worry just a tad for Sasa. Mion was pulling her head around so wildly that she almost tripped over her sandals. Lanterns of every color hung overhead, giving me the sensation of walking under a rainbow. The richer townsfolk had dressed for the occasion, wearing diamond-studded earrings and bracelets that shimmered under the moonlight. Many of the ladies wore perfume, purging the street of its usual sweaty smell. Even the ringing bells sounded less annoying tonight. And no grocery chores were on, so that might have helped. Seeing Mion smile made me do the same, but inside, I also sensed the brewing sadness after tonight. Mion might have never have another chance to venture outside. I tried my best to banish that thought. Mion pointed at a stall selling with wind chimes. Sasa, what are those things? Before Sasa could lean in to look, Mion already dragged her to another stand. What about those? They're greeting cards, Sasa said, panting from her attempt to keep up. Suddenly, Sasa turned to me and winked. Hey, back in a sec. Sasa let go of Mion's hand and vanished into the ground. But Sasa always spreading something up her sleeves. I don't ask for time alone with Mion. Yes, I knew my heart was pounding. No need to make fun. Mion looked around for Sasa, coincided of fate. Please, Sasa, stop messing around and get back here already. Squeezed through the crowd and caught up to Mion. Quick, think of something knightly to say. Guy. For the first time, Mion referred to me by name. Thank you, Guy was a no count in my books. Sasa once chided Mion for never saying my name. Never thought it mattered much, but now, fighting to hold back a stupid grin. Guy, lots of people I don't know, Mion said. It's okay, you know me. Mion turned in my direction, surrounded by the crowd. She looked tiny despite having powers nobody else had. With her standing this close, I noticed she exuded a fragrance similar to Sasa's. Must have been Sasa's handiwork. Mion looked my way, but thanks to her veil, I started to tell what expression she had on. I wish the cursed sight could go bother somebody else for a day. Then I could be the first to take off Mion's head and look her in the eyes. Mion's head gave a sudden jolt. Is it tea or is this blood? It is blood! Uh-oh. That's not good. Before I even had the time to be confused, blood trickled from Mion's forehead and dripped under her chin. I looked around and spotted a few teenagers with rock in their hands. That's the girl with the cursed sight, one of them said. I can't believe the king let you out, another. You're not welcome outside, freak. Another rock came hurling in Mion's direction. I snatched a stone in mid-flight and squeezed it until my palm bled. These scums wanted to ruin Mion's night. I would gladly wreck theirs in return. I took aim at the teenagers, but just as I was about to throw the rock, Sasa appeared and seized me by the wrist. Let's get out of here, Sasa said and dashed out the temple. Grabbed Mion's hand before trailing after her. My oversized shoes kept wanting to slip out, but I tried my best to ignore the discomfort. Those teenagers never had the guts to chase us, and we returned to the temple in one piece. Once we reached Mion's room, I closed the doors while Sasa waved wiped the blood off Mion's face. I'm fine. Mion tried to brush Sassa's hand away. Your eyes, Sassa said, using her grown-up tone to let us know she was in no mood for tantrums. Mion gave a nod, and Sassa removed her hat. Oof. I mean, she knows as long as she's not having her eyes open, so should not be no problem. Mion squeezed her eyes shut as the shampoo had poured into them. Judging from the way her body shook, she seemed more terrified of her own powers than Sassa. At least Alice could run away, but Mion had nowhere to hide from herself. Locke said if Mion lost her hair, would pay the price. And now she had this gash on her forehead. No hair lost, though, right? Oh, guy. You're the good one. Sassa's head could well end up in the bladder next to mine, yet she did only for treating Mion's wound. Sometimes I resented her for that. Kindness exposed me as a jerk that I was. It asked me to be Mion's knight. Polite, more like. I'm never going outside again, Mion said. It also made me turn around and see she had her hat back on. Sassa stroked Mion's back, but she continued to shake. Never, ever again. I hate everything and everyone. Yes, build up the darkness and use it to kill everyone. Everybody has to die. Sassa shook her head at me. It looked like a signal for me to get out, so I did as told, shutting the doors behind me and held a shaky breath. Mion saying my efforts were meaningless, active even. Should try feeling half the horror I sensed when I backed Locke. I swallowed my fear for her sake. Should have earned me a medal, not an outcome like this. Yeah, I'm still surprised I asked him. I thought it was like a dream or something, but holy Jesus Christ. Mion's sobs sounded from behind the doors. His rage stirring with me proved I'd done it all for my personal gain. I impressed Mion. She might grant me special treatment. That must have been my real aim all along. Nope, not at all. That's not really your thing, but alright. Time to wake up, guy. Stash those heroic fantasies of yours in the cupboard and never let them see light again. The next day, I skipped breakfast and nibbled on half an apple for lunch, not to have an appetite when I knew my death sentence was on the way. Since my arrival at the temple, it was only a matter of time before this day came. I regretted letting Sassa pour hope into my heart. Please, at least let her head stay between her shoulders. The moon hung under the starry sky, yet I still had no news of my beheading. Locke must surely have known about Mion's injury by now, so why? I sank deep into thought, a hand clasped my shoulder, causing me to almost leap for the temple roof. I ran around to find Sassa standing before me. Beads of sweat on the forehead told me she just had finished performing. Be sure to go and thank Mion, Sassa said, ruffling my hair. Did you want me to say my last words to Mion? No, she wants to say she didn't tell anyone about the injury, you fucking idiot. Not much point if you ask me, just drive a spear through my heart and get it over with. I would end up being eaten by maggots either way. Mion spoke to the king this morning, Sassa rested her hands on my shoulders. He told him she had the time of her life in the festival. Sensed joy and sadness fighting within for my attention. Tears welled before I could choose either one. I wanted to wipe a sleeve across my eyes, but Sassa wanted me to be Mion's knight, and a soldier should never be caught weeping. Sassa, knowing what to do as always, pressed my face into her chest. Her aroma put me at ease, and I closed my eyes and enjoyed the boobies. And also until the tears melted away. After settling down, I eased away from Sassa. I thought Mion said she hated everything and everyone. Sassa stretched my cheeks. People are more complex than you think, guy. Have fun growing up. With that, she walked off toward the temple gates. I tried to follow her, but then she shook her head and pointed at Mion's room. Oh, fine, the thank you thing. As I strode up to Mion's room, I half wished she'd gone off on a walk as I had no idea what I should say to her. How about thanks for not telling your whoever what he is, the king, that this happened because I owe you my life and shit. And thank you. Go on your knees and say thank you. Hello? For a while, I thought our bond had strengthened. It felt like the Trollfring incident had unchained everything. Best not to fuss her with. Should just walk in and prepare her bad silently while she ignored my existence. That was the way our relationship started, and that the way it was meant to stay. I stepped into Mion's room and found her sitting on her knees as usual. Her will made it impossible to tell whether that forehead cut had healed. I dared not eye her for more than a second. Anyway, being in the same room with her alone made it hard to breathe. I closed the door as Mion said one word to me. Guy. Hey. I might unsure how to respond. The tone revealed no joy or anger. I waited to see if Mion might ask how my day was, like any normal person would, but she did no such thing. Still, as I began washing the windows with my back turned to her, I found myself smiling like an idiot. From that point on, whenever I entered Mion's room, she would say my name. When I helped prepare for rituals without messing up, she would even grace me with a thank you guy. Well, she did it half the time anyway. One afternoon I walked into Mion's room with another servant. She dressed only me. Made me feel pretty special. Perhaps only babies would compete over such things, but my head snapped right up, so call me baby guy if you must. What? After I left the room, I closed my eyes to replay that scene of Mion calling my name and mine alone. Doing so caused me to bump into a patrolling guard. I apologized profusely in hopes he would spare my life. But the guard only shook his head, wearing a frown that showed more sympathy than rage. First, Mion softened up, and now the guards as well. Maybe Locke would blow me a kiss next. Wait, no, that would just be horrible. Guy, is it? The guard asked, addressing me by name even at this rate. My crown me king tomorrow for now. Like if I follows tomorrow not. I have news from your home in Westaria, the guard said. Since my arrival here, not once did my parents contact me. Perhaps they had at last found the courtesy to apologize. Or maybe they'd collected enough gold to buy me back. Well, Mom, Dad, I would have to think about that and get back to you. Your parents have passed away, Dad told me. Oh well. Some find my reaction heartless, but merely blurted out the first thought that came to mind. We're unsure what the cause of death is. The guard clapped his hand under my shoulder, almost dislocating it. Sorry for your loss. Sure, thanks, I said, and the guard trotted off so fast as he could to escape this awkward situation. I mean, if the guard doesn't know how to respond to this either, like, you already being weird, he's being weird. Everyone's being weird right now, okay? Like, holy Jesus. I resumed my cleaning duties as if I had never heard the news. I worked alongside other servants, even cracked a few jokes at them. The raised brows made me realize I tumbled completely out of character. They preferred I could cry and make them all hold my hand, but I must have wept over the very people who had sold me away from my freedom. If anything, I would call this karma. I agree with you on this one. Sasa's face kept surfacing in my thoughts. She would be the one person I could share my troubles with, but she had no plans to visit today. Forget it. Sasa had always managed to shoulder her own bonds, determined to grow up as well. I walked into Mion's room for the care in the world. Hi. Hey. The usual exchange, and then I ran to gather the blankets for cleaning. Mion and I never, or well, rarely, argued as of late. Perhaps I was starting to feel comfortable around her. Even today, however, I just wanted to leave the room as soon as I could. Guy, everything okay? Ian asked. I faced her with a crooked smile, amused by why she would ask such a question. Someone tell her about my parents? Ian pressed me down until I was sitting on the carpet with her. Chuckled at her odd behavior, or maybe was laughing in a fruitless attempt to distract her from the tears that were streaming down my face. Hey, we have dark hair that goes into like a bluish purple as well. Stupid Mion. The one time when I wanted her to ignore me, she had to be more perceptive than even Sasa. Blamed her for these memories of home that were now flashing through my mind. Thinking back, when mom and dad said they would sell me to the temple, they shed my share of tears as well, sparing me from having to weep. Sell me then? Rather than crying, if they had instead exchanged high fives as I got on that rickshaw, I could at least have cursed them with all my heart. Mion leaned in and looped her arms around me. This position, I was able to hide my tear-stained cheeks from her. Controlling my sobs and the sniffle, I shared the news with Mion. Once I told her one thing, the rest came flooding out as well. I'm worried about my baby sister the most. Who will look after her now? Mion released her embrace. 1 coconut, 2 apricots, cold water, 4 incense sticks. Mion still only cared about doing work at a time like this. Please have mercy, lest somebody else to take my place for tonight. Nope, she's doing a ritual for you, you idiot. Wait. Today's schedule said nothing about Mion needing to perform a ritual. Go on, Mion said. I'll find out what happened to your sister. Oh right, okay. My face reddened from the shame of misunderstanding, but are you sure? I knew rituals took a lot out of her, and she had another one booked for tomorrow. Her power should be saved for world issues and not the curiosity of a mere servant. Go on, Mion said again, her wanting patience evident in her tone. She cried out to collect what she needed before she could change her mind. My heart pounded as Mion began to chant. By now, I had grown used to seeing these rituals, but felt tonight meant something to me. Mion seemed to be taking longer than usual. Maybe I should tell her to stop. If anything happened to her, the king would feed me to his parrot. Mion exhausted herself from me. Here stood, fearing for my dear life, like the animal I was. The floor stopped, quaking at last, and Mion dropped onto all fours. Sweat spilling down to her neck, she gazed up at me. Your sister's been adopted into Vestaria's temple. She's going to be okay. Tell me later. Pulled the tissue out of my pocket and used it to wipe the sweat off Mion's neck. Cheeks reddened a little, but she let me continue nonetheless. My vision came out blurry, Mion said. Perhaps my focus is lacking. I shook my head. You did well enough. The Vestarian temple must have taken my sister in as a new servant to become a slave like me. But at least I know she's alive. Thank you, Mion. I lost my tribute to Mion's thank you guy. I winked at Mion, hoping to make her smile. He threw an apricot in my face instead. Yeah, alright. Probably deserved that one. The next morning, as I rolled around in bed, the scene of me crying in Mion's arm kept locking in my mind. My warmth felt nice at the time, but now, just thinking about what had happened made me want to hide my bedsheet forever. But Mion bragged to Sasa about it. Look goodbye, dear manhood. No, why would she brag? What of all the words, why would you use the word brag? Tell? Maybe. But brag? Why would she? Who would brag about what? This writing sometimes is just, I don't know, throwing me off or something. Hell. Let me try and remember my first task for the day. Right, clean Mion's room. Of course, the Krona climbed out of my bedsheet and held it off. When I arrived inside Mion's room, she gave her usual greeting. Guy. Hey. Good. Nothing out of the ordinary so far. Pretend last night never happened. Wow. That came out sounding real kinky. Guy. Stupid Mion, just move on already. Yes, I cried, so go ahead and laugh away. It's well to face Mion. I spotted a set of clothes folded across her lap. This should be a better fit for you, Mion said. In truth, I had already grown used to my oversized clothes. I'd given up on ever receiving a new set. Least of all from Mion. Man, she had me in her thoughts, and for that only one response. Thank you, Mion. Mion tossed the clothes in my face and headed for the change room. At last I could say goodbye to these shoes that slipped out whenever I walked too fast. No more rolling up my sleeves 100 times a day. Stripped off these clothes and put on the ones Mion had prepared for me. The new shirt had sleeves that ended right on my wrists. These new pants reached down to my ankles, which hopefully meant no more tripping over them. Face planting onto the carpet. The shoes fit just right too. Even without asking for my measurements, Mion's estimates were spot on. We'd see each other almost daily after all. Smiled at the thought. Luck might see me as a nobody, but I happened to be Mion's special servant. At least, I hoped so. Give me a second. There's a thing calling on. Oh, what's that? I returned into Mion's room with my chin raised. What do you think? Mion nodded in approval. I could have sworn she even flashed a hint of a smile. He opened her mouth to speak. I knew praises were imminent. Send them my way, Mion. 3 oranges, 6 apples, warm water, 9 incense sticks. Ugh, never hurt to dream. That is like a huge time jump we just did. Yeah, hey. One morning log. Okay, we have been here for 10 years, alright? I'm gonna try to figure out the others. One morning log summoned every member of the temple into his chamber. In my decade of slavery here, not once had this taken place. Aside from a few whispers, the whole remained silent while people gathered. We must have shared a sense of unease. My age was right. Option. Oh, save, load, whatever. We've been here for like 10 years now. We're like 10 years older now. Among the crowds of guards and servants, I spotted Mion standing next to Sasa. Having them by my side would help settle my nerves, but squeezing through the people would draw too much attention, so I chose to keep still. Locke sat on his throne behind the curtain. As always, once everyone had arrived, he cleared his throat to speak. As of today, we are at war with Vestaria. Gasps echoed across the hall, coming mostly from the guards. They were, after all, the most likely to be sent to war. Servants knew only how to handle brooms, not spears. Everyone knew East and West Harvey had been butting heads, so this war announcement hardly came as a surprise. To be honest, unless West Harvey invaded the temple, I doubt it would affect me at all. Vestaria carries a treasure that will bring great wealth to our nation, Locke continued. We must obtain it by any means necessary. I had never heard of Vestaria possessing any treasure. It must be something that would help the kings grow a mountain of gold. My parents sold me here for the same reason. Gold, gold, gold. I'd only be a year away from turning 18, but I still hated adults. So you were 7 when you got sold, you're 17 now, you're turning 18, and I have the distinct feeling that the plot twist is gonna be the new treasure of the Vestarian temple is your sister. That is gonna be the thing. I've invited Queen Hitrian for a meeting in our temple tonight. When she passes Melody Way, we'll begin our ambush and take her hostage, Locke said. We'll have soldiers with her, but fear not, for Mion has performed a ritual to ensure victory. Guards traded concerned looks. Whether they succeeded or not tonight, it would be bloodshed. Still, none of them dared to voice their discontent, as doing so might cost them their heads before sunset. I cast a glance at Mion, who was staring at her shoes. Locke said she had performed a ritual for the night's battles. We must have known about it. She never gave me a heads up. Probably only told Sasa, which I confessed, stung a little. She looks a little bit older now. Like her eyes, there's something under her eyes right now which makes her just look like really tired and exhausted or something. Definitely happened. Or she cried, maybe. Tessa rubbed a hand over Mion's back. King had forced Mion to participate in the evening slaughter, yet I still only cared for my own petty feelings. Locke dismissed the audience, and with heavy strides the guards and servants resumed their duties. Mion pulled Sasa toward the room, and I followed them inside. Staying in Melody Way tonight will be dangerous. Mion tugged Sasa's sleeve. You should hide here with us until sunrise. She served as a mag for thinking that war was no business of mine. It only occurred to me that Sasa's home sat right in tonight's battle zone. No longer even deserved to be around her. As I gently lowered Mion's hand. There's no way I can leave my children to save myself. Just bring your kids along, I said. In all the other villages, King would never allow it. As I put one hand on my shoulder and the other on Mion's. The lockout door is tight. There's no need to worry. I never knew those were immune to swords, explosions, and whatever else the soldiers decided to bring tonight. Mion clung on the Sasa's sleeve again, probably feeling as unconvinced as I did. Sasa made the three of us hold hands and form a triangle. We did this a lot as children, but stopped once Mion and I became teenagers. Perhaps Sasa thought it might embarrass us. To be honest, I wished we never stopped. But she definitely looks different. See my hands? Sasa asked, all the fingers shaking between mine, yet the smile never waned. I'm terrified, but I'd rather die as a person than to survive as a monster. Imagined how it must feel to be in Sasa's shoes. If I cowered in a temple and learned the next morning the Melody Way had been burned to the ground, my heart too would be charred black. You know, I had a fight with my husband one morning, Sasa said. That was the dumbest thing too. He then died in a work accident the same night. I always regret painting with him that way. Or parting with him that way. Whenever Mion and I quarreled, Sasa would always force us to make up. Last I understood why. Why am I suddenly telling you this? He surfaced in Sasa's eyes. I'm burdening you angels from silly problems. Sorry. Sasa shed tears in front of me for the first time, yet even now she forced a shaky smile from her sake as well as Mion's. All she ever thought about was us. If I'd grown up faster, maybe I could have helped her shoulder those burdens. In recent years, when Sasa smiled, I could spot wrinkles on her cheeks. The skin on her eyes had been looking more and more worn as well. When I was little, I used to always overhear the guards talking about how pretty Sasa was. Those conversations died out several years ago. Of course, Sasa would always be comparable to a goddess in my eyes. But time truly waited for no one. Sasa told us her secret, knowing she might die tonight, old enough to understand that, so please, start thinking of yourself for a change. So wiping her tears away, Sasa squeezed our hands in hers. Stay for me tonight, both of you. Thinking about me, I'll be okay. Sasa pinched Mion's cheeks. Of course I play a role in this war, but don't you blame yourself, okay? Mion and I grew up. Sasa had been pinching our faces less and less. Seeing her do so again filled my heart with nostalgia. Sasa's eyes would probably always be children. I loathed being called a kid, but for her, I would make an exception. Sasa rose to leave. Mion darted to the doors and blocked the path. Sasa gave Mion's ear a gentle pull. Don't do this to me. With a teeth, Mion shook her head. She looked like a spoiled child refusing to let a friend go home. Still, right now, I in fact really wanted to bar the doors with her. Sasa's smile vanished. Mion, stop that at once. Those words made Mion shoulder, stepped out of the way. Even when we were spoiled brats, Sasa rarely lost her patience with us. If by putting on a serious expression, she could make us obey her, and 10 years later, that was still the case. Mion's lips twitched, looking like she wanted to cry. Sasa embraced her and whispered comforting words into her ear. It's okay, little angel. Sorry I'll tell you before you're getting to his wedding, right? Please, Sasa, stop teasing and worrying about us at a time like this. Nobody would fault you for acting spoiled once in a while. Sasa left the room. Mion told me what to gather for our next ritual. No way would she simply pray for luck to be on her side. Much had happened to us both for that to be reliable. Once I finished gathering the items needed for the ritual, I dashed back towards Mion's rooms. Anxiety numbed my nerves, causing me to stumble in the corridor and spill the fruit bowl. Picked the fruits back up, cursing as I noticed the dents on some of the apples. Those were the only ones left in stocks. No time to left buy new ones, I shoved them back into the bowl and went back into Mion's room. Sorry, I messed up. Put down the bowl and showed me the damn apples. Mion sighed. There's more dance at least. I repeatedly slapped myself across the head. Mion forced my arm down. Guy, I've been doing this all my life. I'll make it work, so stop blaming yourself. When I first met Mion, she knew nothing about comforting others, and to hug her for having become so considerate, but Sasa took priority right now. Once I lit the incense sticks, Mion went to work. The floor rumbled so much I could feel my brain bumming against my skull. Mion clutched her chest and curled into a ball. I'd seen this happen from time to time during rituals as of late. But we still had no idea why. If she kept this up, I feared I might lose her before the day ended. When I reached in to interrupt Mion, she slapped my hand away. My breath locked in my throat as I wondered if I should force her to stop, but seizing the spell cost Sasa her life. If anything happened to Sasa, Mion might throw off her head and curse me on the spot. Mion stopped chanting and I held, but just before she collapsed on the carpet, she pulled away from me and pounded her fist against the floor. The vision became all blurry again. When have I become so useless? That's Mia said, choking back tears. It's because I ruined those apples. Mion shook her head. You know, it has been happening for me for a while now. These rituals are becoming more and more difficult. I'm losing my powers. That meant Mion could say goodbye to that head of hers. I would welcome it. Doc might have a different reaction though. In my years of service, I had noticed Mion's mood could affect her powers. The king had forced her to support this war, and now her dearest friend might be paying the price. That could explain why her spells were faltering. Mion pulled her arm back, looking ready to punch the floor again, seized her wrist to stop her from breaking her knuckles. So, is Sasa going to be okay? It's me we're talking about, Mion said. She'll be fine. Just wish I had enough power to protect the whole village. Indeed, even with Mion telling me Sasa would survive, I found no cause for celebration. I wondered how many lives would be sacrificed tonight in the game of greed. The sun descended, sat alongside Mion with her backs against the wall. The birds croaked outside as they always did. For them, it was the start of another ordinary night. Mion tilted her head as she dozed off yet again, pulled out the blanket from the closet and wrapped it over her, breathed peacefully as I waited in silence for the war to commence. What was Sasa up to? I imagined her sitting in the corner of the living room with her arms wrapped around the children. She screamed on the inside. She would tell her kids nothing was to worry about. Sasa was Sasa even at a time like this. I heard an explosion coming from the near village. On any other day, I might have mistaken the noise for fireworks. From this far, the blast sounded faint, allowing Mion to sleep right through it. I wished I could do the same and be spared from this terror. Cupped both hands over my ears in hopes of blocking out the noise. There should be no way for me to hear any screams from this far, but I swore I heard them ring in my head. Brock's army fell. The Vestalians could be banging on the temple doors in a matter of hours. So much for the war having no effect on me. I wanted to flee the temple, and run away as far from the noise as possible. Mion could come along, but I knew she would refuse. No way would she budge until she knew Sasa was okay. Oh goddess, please spare the life of this coward. Oh, plus Mion and Sasas as well. Not too much on ask, I prayed. Next morning, Mion shook me awake. While Sasa shivered with her kids inside the war zone, I'd managed to snooze through the entire night. The blanket I gave Mion was not wrapped over me instead. King Locke summoned us again, Mion said. I threw off my blanket and followed her toward the throne room. Mion's hands quivered as she walked. I wanted to hold them and calm her, but my hands were shaking just as badly. When anything happened to Sasa, the Vestalians had no need for battle. I swore the king would die by my own hands. Why the king? Why not the queen, the enemy queen? Alright. Mion and I arrived inside Locke's chamber. Guards and servants filled the hall just like yesterday, but there seemed to be less of them this morning. Some of the soldiers died last night. I gulped at the possibility. Well, in a war, it's inevitable. Mion and I survived the halls in hopes of spotting Sasa. Clothing stood out from everybody else's so she could be easy to locate. Scanned my eyes for across the room 3 times, but she was nowhere in sight. It's early, so bad she's still at home, that's all, I said. Mion nodded, shuffling a step closer toward me. Once everyone had gathered, Locke began to speak. Contrary to Mion's forecast, Queen Hydriane managed to escape last night. Turned to face Mion, who stared at the red carpet to avoid his gaze. I had no interest in knowing about what happened to the Queen of Vestalia. Hurry up and dismiss us already. Mion's power is no longer stable. I need to go back and check on Sasa right away. You don't realize that he might kill her now. The king ordered us to resume our duties and immediately snuck out. Mion stayed back in the temple, waiting for my good news. I sprinted along the street until my sides cramped up, and I resorted to choking with a grimace. By the time I reached Melody Way, sweat glued my shirt against my chest. To gasp for breath, I looked around the village's remains. Bodies of both East and Vestalian soldiers littered the road. Neither side could really be labeled victorious. The reeks of their corpses forced me to cup my nose. Guards, as well as civilians, carried their bodies away on stretchers. Thank goodness Mion stayed in the temple. The ritual contributed to this mess, and she had no need to see that in person. A fair number of homes has been burned to ashes. Even with the fires put out, the smoke continued to sting my eyes. Those explosions I heard last night must be responsible for this. Even after all these years, I still had no idea which house belonged to Sasa. I wanted to knock myself over the head as if doing so would suddenly make me know where to look. The guard walked by, I waved him over. He glared at me, probably annoyed he was being bossed around by a servant. The lady who performs in our temple. Which house is hers? I asked. What? How should I know? The guard frowned. You think I'm some kind of stalker? Useless. I wanted to bark out. Instead I ran off in hopes of finding someone who might be able to help. Perhaps one of the civilians might know. I heard bells ring behind me. Exact sound Sasa made whenever she moved her arms. Looked like she had found me first. Who cared if we failed to kidnap the queen? Mion had saved Sasa, and for that I owed her a hug. I spun around expecting to greet Sasa, but I met an unfamiliar face instead. The woman I saw wore the same clothes as Sasa, so she too must be a Belstress. Those bells on arms produced the same noise, which resulted in a mix-up. I tugged the woman's sleeve. Hey, you know Sasa, right? Have you seen her around? Ah, goddamn. You mean Miss I got handpicked by the king himself? No, haven't seen her. The woman swung her arm free and strode off. Jokes on me for thinking all Belsos has a kind heart. A pair of guards bumped into my arms as they shoved past me, carrying her body on body stretcher. Uh-oh. That looks familiar. The corpse's arm dangled from underneath the glove. Tore my heart shattered when I saw the spells attached to the arm sleeve. Signs of hair picked out from inside the gloves as well. Color resembled that of Sassa's hair far too much. Come down, guy. You had mistaken that Bells was earlier Sassa too. Must be another one of your little blunders. Silly guy. With strangling hands, I reached for the glove. One of the soldiers slapped my hand aside. The glove is here for a reason. I'm doing this for your own good. Imagine what kind of state the carcass was in. Perhaps the skin has been charred beyond recognition. Might be my mind playing tricks, but for a second I thought the flesh smelled like chicken. Thought almost made me vomit. Tell me that's not Sassa. The entire family's been struck by a stray bomb, the soldier said. Are you deaf? I said tell me that's not Sassa. The soldier dodged my gaze, and that confirmed it for me. My knees almost buckled as I watched them dump Sassa's corpse in the corner where all bodies were being piled. These guards acted as they were taking out the garbage. I had no idea who those other corpses were, but Sassa deserved better than this. No, Mion said things would turn out okay. Did the ritual fail because I had spoiled his apples? The possibility sapped the strength from my legs and I leaned against the lantern post for support. Sassa. Well, that's where I'm gonna save this video. I mean, save the game and end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. In the next one, I feel like we're going to finish this because I don't know where the story could go. I feel like there's just gonna be more tragedy happening in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until then, have a great one.